Hey, it's the Mike Rogers Show. Mike Rogers here with you. And today, once again, for all of you artists who want to tour Japan, all you indies artists, this guy is by far the leading expert, I think. And I'm talking about over 30 some years, almost 40 years. This guy is the most impressive promoter. He runs the band Falling Doves. He's also the CEO of blackcherrygroup.com, Mr. Christopher Leyva.
It's a pleasure to be back here again with you, Mike. Thank you for inviting me for part two.
Your conversation is so interesting and I think so useful. We're going to get 1 million views, I hope.
Well, we have a lot of on-the-field experience, at least. You know, a lot of promoters, even agents, have never left their home to spend a week with a band, to know the things that we go through, to know the things that we need, you know, and today we're going to educate you a little bit more on some of the pitfalls and some of the things you should know when traveling in Japan.
Yeah. So can you, okay, this is really stupid, but this is the start of another video. Can you give me like the top 5 most important things you need before you come to Japan?
Okay. Number 1, you need to work out. Once you got the plan set up with all the bands where you're going to go, you got a few shows. Be ambitious, but not too ambitious. 5 shows is more than enough. 4 is good enough because that's what you'll be able to handle. 2, you need to learn to be on time. You need to make sure you're there. Japanese shows run in a way. It's a certain, almost, I call it ceremonial. You've never played anything like this in your life, and I can assure you that. Everybody, you show up at 2 o'clock for sound check. All the bands are there at the same time. Everybody does a sound check. You can go over your time. Be respectful with the other bands. Get off. Everybody has another meeting where all the bands introduce each other. Then everybody together, you become one group for one night. So all of you are working together to make this positive for everybody. They usually choose one person to honor that night, and everybody agrees that they're all going to be there to support you for the night, and every band will be there to watch you, you know. And then after the show as well, same ballgame. You can go and talk to people and hang out with people, but then at the end of the night when people leave, the club does a closing night, and that's where you get to meet the manager and the owner, and everybody has a shot or a drink. It's very, very, very important you don't miss those things. Number 3, when going out there, you want to travel as light as possible. My first tour, we just had a guitar in our back with clothing, and we had a small little hand luggage that had our merch. That was it. Japan is a very compact country when you're in the cities. When you go to the countryside, everything's bigger. But in the cities, everything's really compact, meaning the hotel rooms, if you're coming in with a bandmate, I am not overemphasizing how small those rooms are. So there'll be enough room.
Underestimating how small those rooms are.
Yeah, there you go. You'll be able to keep the two pieces of gear in one little corner. It literally, you know, this much counter space. You get ready in the morning and put your stuff in at the end of the night. But everything you need is there. They take really good care of you. Number 3, there's a lot of stairs. And sometimes some of those elevators or escalators are not working. You'll have to walk a massive amount of stairs, more than even London, to be sincere with you. It's very tiring. So you want to try to stay in good shape. Don't drink a lot, or you're not going to be able to keep up with the daily routine of the work days. You know, designate your party days is what I like to say, you know. And other than that, the food's very cheap. So always carry some type of cash on you. It's very important because a lot of vendors, especially to go into some areas, will not take card, won't take card, and they just want cash.
Yeah.
And that's fine. 5, use Google Translate on your phone. Stay at APA hotels and buy one of those tickets that are, you can buy them directly on the JR website for the local trains. That'll save you a lot of time and money buying tickets and things like that. You can buy a 7-day pass or 14-day pass if you're just in Tokyo. They have one that's about 300. No, it wasn't 300. It ended up being 175 each of us, and that allowed us for 7 days to go as far as the train goes, which is all the way down to Ranube and back. And you're able to take the bullet train. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so tell us about this meeting. I would imagine they don't do this in the United States. You said you did the sound check, and then everyone gets together. All the band members get together, and then I don't know, somebody has a speech or a talk, and then you introduce.
It's everyone. The house manager usually is.
You don't do that in the United States?
The furthest in that I've ever been involved in is, we called it not at venues. I think when I used to work at House of Blues, we did have I want to call it like a staff meeting prior to the event, where we'd get in a circle. You'd have the security, the lighting people, the production people, and then it'd just be the staff having a meeting about what we were expected to see that night, what to look out for. If it was a hip hop event, watch the bathrooms, make sure we didn't have any drug issues, watch the outside for safety, be very very sensitive about checking people and make sure that they don't have guns and things like that, or anything sharp that can be violent. Look for anything like gang colors. I mean, that's the meetings that we had back then. So not in the same vein, but that's the closest I've ever been involved in.
Yeah. So
group bonding.
I run music events here,
right?
And we always have a meeting before the event, and then after the event we have what's called Hanseikai. Hanseikai means reflection meeting or something like that. But yeah, everyone must be there, and everyone must be polite and kind. And I would imagine that some artists from the West might think like, oh, what kind of shit is this? But it's really important to build friendship and a relationship with these other bands, and show that you respect the culture here.
Yeah.
And then the after meeting, everyone gets together and says thank you, and then they have a drink together. And that's, like you said, I can't stress how important that is. That's so important in Japan.
Yeah.
But I have seen shows where the foreign band, like 1 or 2 members were there, and I kind of thought, this is not good. That's kind of, in Japan, that would be grounds for kicking those 2 guys out of the band.
Yeah.
So when you come and you played, did you play a lot of showcases where there were like different bands, like an idol group, a heavy metal group, and then you guys, did you play that kind of shows?
No, it was nice that our shows were the only one that was very diverse, but the diversity also had flow. We played not Heavy Sick. It's another club called, what was that? Played Heaven's Door.
Heaven's Door.
And Heaven's Door booked this really incredible punk band to close the show. I think the guy with all the spikes, the blonde guy that plays bass.
Oh, is his name Jesus?
I don't know, but he's got a store in Koenji where he sells records and music. And he says he knows you very well.
Isn't it weird, like in Japan, like a lot of Tokyo musicians, like, oh yeah, I run a record store. I run a bar.
Yeah. And so we played with them. Then another mod group that opened up the show. The only one that didn't really quite fit was this really heavy metal band that played between us. But the punk band and the 2 rock bands, we all flowed really well.
Wow, that's cool. When you come back here next year or whatever,
March next year,
are going to be even more, what do you call it? I don't know how to say it. have a focus on a certain type of music.
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to tell you, that I think the aspect that we were able to put some of these showcases together, we were able to have the right bands that complemented the evening. And a lot of people that came out to the shows, believe it or not, were like, well, this is cool, man. We don't get to see showcases that are in the same field. So it was pretty special for them to come to a show and have one English band, Brit Rock, a real English band with English guys from Manchester.
Yeah.
Ourselves. And then this other band of Americans. So you had actually 3 expats in one show, and people just came because of this is what it was. They wanted to see these expats, and they wanted to see the showcase, and they loved it. They got excited. You would have thought you were watching Oasis or the Stone Roses. How nuts people went, and they loved it.
I think that's really important because, and I don't really want to talk about promoters too much, but I don't have a very good opinion, Chris, of promoters in Japan, especially indies promoters, because they'll take money and then they'll usually just book people into these showcases where there might be a heavy metal band, and then there's a 2-girl band, not even a band, they're singing karaoke.
Yeah.
Idols. And I think it's like it's bad for the reputation of the band to be playing at a show that doesn't
make no sense.
What'd you say?
That makes no sense.
It makes no sense. So what do you think about that? You don't have to talk about promoters so much.
Well, I mean, your job, you're a radio DJ. So when you're curating your playlist, what do? You want to make sure that the songs complement each other and have a structurally a flow. Why? So the listener is not, agitated or shocked when you bring from one sound to the other, because even us, at the end of the day, if we're getting into elemental feelings, we're all flow, we're all energy. So, when you look at a little orb, you put different things on it, the electrical patterns will keep it a certain way. But if you're putting in a lot of wave patterns, then it's going to disturb the vibe, and people will leave. That's just a gig. Even if the band's great, but you have to have the people that come to see that for that to make sense.
So arranging that is a lot of what you were talking about a little while ago, meeting people on Facebook and getting connections with bands who are of the like mind, the like focus, and they want to do the same type of music as you.
Yeah. And it's better to play, even at that point, Mike, it's better to play 3 really good shows than 5 like the ones that you're saying,
Yeah.
Because it does no justice for anybody. And then it's just like in LA, we call them cattle call, it's just, they don't care what's there.
It's called cattle call?
Yeah, where people are just making money off of people. They don't care who's there. They're just taking money and shoving people in a room. And another thing you can also do, which I forgot to mention, you can rent out the room if you have a little bit of a budget. And I don't really recommend that. Maybe do one room that you rent out and you curate it with all the bands that you want. That's a marketing expense from your pocket, but it's your company that's doing the showcase. The Falling Doves present, a night in Tokyo with, Mike Rogers and Rodney Bingenheimer live, that type of thing.
Well, Mike will be there, but I don't know about Rodney.
Yeah, he'll be there in spirit or on a shirt.
And speaking of Rodney, the other day, Rodney Bingenheimer played the Falling Doves on his radio show.
Yeah.
Was that the first time?
Third. The first time he played us was in 2015 when he was at K-Rock.
Really? So I'm going to send him songs. Wait, what day is today? Oh, today. So what song should I send to Rodney that you think he's going to play?
Well, staying in the same vein of the stuff I sent you, send him Be My Lover. He'll love that.
Be My Lover?
Yeah, because that's very very Southern California pop punk, like he likes, garage punky.
That's good. I don't know if you've noticed recently, Rodney has been playing lots of new music.
Yeah, and I attribute a lot of that to, there was a period of time, the friend that we're speaking about is a radio DJ, for those of you that don't know, in Los Angeles, California, who's marked and helped the careers of everybody from David Bowie to Oasis and beyond, even Green Day. And no doubt, in a lot of great bands that have come out of LA, he's been the big supporter. That's the gentleman we're speaking about. And the reason why, I think the fear of wanting to do what he wanted to do or what he wants to do is gone. And now he's able to just not take leaps, but he's able to just go back to who he originally is. And I'm going to say this to you, there's a whole different vibe with him now. He's so excited. He's very, very smart, and he's just very bright about the future.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to leave a really good long-term legacy.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
He wants a few more success stories, is what he said to me.
A few more. How many success stories can a guy have?
But he wants to go out with a bang, man. That's it.
Well, maybe it can be Falling Doves. Oh, so let me go back to that. You know who you guys remind me of? And the music's not the same, but
please don't say Husker Du, because
no, you'll be shocked. Peter Frampton.
Wow, that's interesting.
So Peter Frampton struggled for years and years and years, and then one day, and I think this was 1974 or 1975, he just bubbled to the top. And then that album, I can't remember what it was called. Oh, Frampton Comes Alive.
Yeah, I was about to say the name of that album.
Yeah, he just exploded. And I mean, he exploded everywhere. Everybody knew who he was. He was bigger than the Eagles and other bands like that. So I think when I look at your stuff, I checked your band history and everything. The right people. You guys are set for that.
Oh, you've done the work, man. That's the thing. That's the thing the bands don't want to do. You have to do the work, and you have to play the shows, and you have to travel to a lot of these towns and play the shows that nobody wants to play. But you got to always remember, we started playing open mics everywhere in the world, and we weren't embarrassed or ashamed of doing that.
I had read something about Frampton, and he basically kind of said what you just said. And he said he was struggling for like 12 or 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And just doing things. And all of a sudden, they said it was an overnight success, but it wasn't an overnight success.
Overnight,
10 years of hard work.
Yeah.
And I think most bands give up after, a couple of years and this is not happening. But I think making the effort, living, it's not a job. It's not a job. It's a lifestyle.
It's a profession. Yeah. It really is.
So, okay, so we don't have much time left, but what are your plans from now, Christopher? Are you going to make a new record? You're going to tour?
For the rest of this year, we were very blessed during the pandemic. We recorded so many albums, and they're all just waiting to be released. And we have to be, yeah. During the pandemic, out of all that stuff we released, we were releasing things every 2 months, every 3 months. But there was these 2 albums that were just special enough that I couldn't just throw them out into the mass market. I'm always releasing things under the radar anyways. Mm-hmm. So people that really listen to our stuff will go on there and look on so we have our own Falling Doves Bandcamp. So bandcamp.com/fallingdoves. And there's a massive collection of albums. I think I got a total of 46, 47 albums out.
I looked at that yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's what made me think of Peter Frampton, because you had so many records there.
Yeah.
The whole page was records.
Yeah. And so I've tried to slow down a little bit on that. But this is what I do, man. You know, I make records and I tour. And I enjoy both of them. So for the remaining of this year, I know I have a few records out there that I still have to touch up on, but I'm not stressing on that. No one's rushing me on that. A couple cover stuff I'm going to put up, just redoing some covers, some soul and Motown stuff. But I do have, we're going back to England in July. We're supposed to hit Norway, hopefully in June. That hasn't been confirmed yet. August in France. September, we're supposed to do a little bit of Ireland and come back to the States. October, we go to, I hope we're off in October. But November, we're out in Australia, and December.
What was that? I hope we're off? What's that mean?
I hope we're taking a break in October.
Oh, I hope we're off. I thought
Yeah,
that was the name of some.
But you know, because that's the thing is I could say right now no, and then I could get a call from a promoter that wants to do a string of shows with us in Puerto Rico or something like that. And there we are. We're gone, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a full schedule, Chris.
Yeah. No, we're committed for the year. But you know what? We may be playing with Billy Bob Thornton, the actor, at the Troubadour before we do our big tour in his band, at the Boxmasters. May 27th, I think, or 21st.
Wow, Billy Bob Thornton. Wow.
Yeah. Well, you know, he's probably gonna be eating at Dan Tana's next door prior to the show if he comes.
Oh.
That's true.
Okay. Anyways, today's guest was Chris Leyva. Tips on touring Japan, touring the world, making it. I think this band is about to break big. And I'd like to thank Mr. Chris Leyva. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And I want to just leave you guys with this message. You know, please always feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook, just to ask me anything. You know, I'm always happy to share knowledge. And just like Mike is, some of my feedback may be a little bit constructively, strongly opinionated, but I have to be that way because that's the reality of how things are in those markets. But I will always be there to talk to anybody. So if you see this and you get excited and you go, hey, you know, what about this? Just reach out to me. And this interview doesn't have to be the end of the conversation. You know, part of working with the Academy, the Recording Academy, the Grammys, is that I do a lot of seminars like this for music, touring, and stuff like that. And so, as a professor would say in college, my office hours are always open online. Just reach out and send a message, and I'm always happy to offer any type of advice or services that I can help you guys with.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Christopher Leyva. Yay!
Thank you so much, Chris.